So give me 1 moment.
Okay.
One second. Where'd it go? Wait, we're not live yet.
Okay. I'm waiting.
Hang on, hang on.
I am hanging. Would you like me to go live to Facebook?
Yes, go ahead. Oh, it should start.
Oh, are you on now?
Yes.
Would you like me to go live to Facebook?
Yes, go ahead. We're
Oh,
live. We're already live.
Okay, now you're going to go out of Facebook now, right? Okay.
All right, well, welcome everyone. Everyone who's joining us on Zoom and on Facebook for AllOne Conscious Conversations. I'm Sharon Berkowitz, along with my good friend, Lynda Hope. We are doing the show to bring a higher conscious awareness view to those seeking spiritual fulfillment and self-realization. My teacher Sage and our Divine One group have inspired the creation of my first book, Light Wisdom. And in the present now, welcome Lynda Hope. Aloha.
Aloha. Oh, I'm so grateful to be here with you and to see you in Hawaii. I'm so happy that you're back there again. I'm sure you are as well. We started this a year ago, I think, right? About a year ago. And
It's been a year.
It has been a year, and it's been an amazing journey. We've had so many wonderful guests on our show, and we're doing this really for really to bring peace and beauty and love into the world as we embrace that, as we know that this is really the essence of who we are. And we have these highly conscious conversations together so that we can really help people point their way back into their authentic self, into the place of God, of source, of whatever you want to call it, of the beauty of really the presence that you are. So, yeah, thank you.
Wonderful. Awesome. We're so excited that you've all joined us. And Lynda Hope, would you like to join us, lead us in a meditation?
Yes, thank you. We're going to center ourselves. We know how healing meditation is and how we can quiet our mind so our body can rejuvenate and our aliveness in our body can be actualized beyond the mind, which is always giving us a lot of chatter and a lot of stories. So get comfortable in your chair if you can. And just shut off your phone, any distractions, so you can be totally present right now, because the now is all we really have. So as you close your eyes, get comfortable, put your hands nicely, gently on your lap. An opportunity to really breathe deeply in on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3, deeply into your body. And release it through your mouth. Another deep cleansing breath in and out. And one more deep breath in and out. And as we feel into the heart space, we just know that this is really the source energy space, the heart, beyond the mind, which is the thoughts and the chatter and the noise. So we go into that place of stillness as you hear my voice. Just focus on my voice, and you may want to just also feel the breath coming through up through your nostrils and out through your nostrils or your mouth. And when you focus your attention in one place into the body area, the thoughts start to diminish. You can already see, witnessing that, the quietness that comes when you focus your attention somewhere else. And we're really focusing into the consciousness that we all are. Consciousness, the higher mind consciousness, that is really the essence of who we all are, that I am presence. The I am knowing this existence is that we are this, and this is our God connection. God is this I am that I am place of presence, of silence and stillness and timeless and formless. And that is the one that we are as one. And so as you continue to hear my voice and feel into your body, feel the aliveness. You can feel it in your hands. Your hands, in the palms of your hands, you can feel this tingling sensation. You can also feel it in the bottom of your feet. And again, you notice when you put your attention here that the mind calms down, and actually, you can actually see there may be very little thoughts, if any. And this you can do every day, just being here now. And as you are here now for just 1 minute or 2 minutes, you can extend that to 5 and 10 and maybe even a half hour. And as it continues to be, you continue to know that this is possible, to be present now and allow all of that to be peaceful, serene, sense of love and compassion flowing through you. This is your happy place. I'm going to bring you back now to our conscious conversations as Sharon welcomes in our beautiful guests from Hawaii. Welcome back.
Thank you, Linda Hope, for that wonderful meditation.
Hmm.
Wow, it was beautiful. So I'd like to introduce our special guest, Hope Johnson. Yay. And Hope approaches life from the viewpoint that life is a dreamlike fantasy brought on by a thought of separation that we took seriously, and that the dream life is meaningless, except that we can use it to undo the insane thought that props it up as if it's reality. Hope has one goal for dreaming: to demonstrate to our shared mind that only love is real and that no separation ever happened. She has spoken for many years at retreats, online meetings, and to groups near her home on Hawaii Island. Many of Hope's online meetings have been recorded and are available for free. Hope is also happy to speak one-on-one or in small groups with those who are sincerely seeking the guidance that comes through her. Hope is an author, yogi, and founder of a fantastic essential oil online boutique called Miracle Botanicals. She is a wife and a mother to 3 children, 2 of whom are adults. She also enjoys playing harp, dancing, laughing with the fairies, and being naked in the sun. So welcome, Hope, to AllOne Conscious Conversations.
Thank you for reminding me what I wrote back then. That's so fun.
And it's still good now, right?
It was fun to hear all of that. Sure.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here with us.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you.
So can you speak a little bit about the awakening that you've had and how that affected you?
Well, it definitely is ongoing, which is awesome. But the main one was in a Vipassana retreat. I only ever did one. And there was a lot of suffering before that. It was like really in some intensity where I'm like crying and asking for my teacher. Where's my master? Where's my teacher? What is going on here? Before I kill someone around here, it was like intense, really intense feelings. So I found myself drawn to Vipassana meditation retreat, which wasn't like me at all, because I wasn't like into meditation per se. I had practiced a lot of yoga, but I found myself drawn to that. And while I was in there at day 4 of the meditation retreat, all of a sudden there was so much grief, like all this grief came up. And then there was this convergence of all this different information and teachings that I'd had my eye on for years. I kind of been like a bookworm. I read a lot. I read all different kinds of things, and I practiced everything. I would put everything into practice. They're like, do this. Okay, I'll do that. And so, I felt like just completely like dark and hopeless right before this retreat. And even like going into it, I started to like have like a glimmer of hope. Like I am okay. I'm being guided correctly, at least, But then all the teachings came, like A Course in Miracles, yoga, my yoga book background, even biblical stuff that I did from when I was a kid, when I was a missionary. And it just all the teachings I felt converged at one moment. And it was kind of like, oh, and that's the thing. It's like, we think we got these teachings on an intellectual level, like, because you read it, you said, okay, I read it and now I know it. And it's like, well, why am I still suffering? Why am I still suffering if I already know it? But it was like, at that point, it's like everything just clicked together. It just like came together, and it was like, oh, and it was like obvious to me that it's all coming for me. That's like the only way I can say it right now. But it's like, it's all nothing is a threat to me. This sense of upset is what I'm projecting onto myself right now. I'm making this real for the drama of it. And I totally saw that and got it, not like in a studious kind of bookworm way, but just like really felt that. And then, realizing too, wow, I have developed so many patterns around like the opposite of that. Like people are, like the idea that people are doing something to me and they can like prevent me from having a good life or something like that. So that was always projected onto my immediate family. And, it's always something that, you look back on it and you're like, gosh, why was I doing that? But it's like, when you don't know, you don't know. So they seem to be very troublesome, very antagonistic to me, holding me back from the things that I thought I wanted to do. And so I knew that I had patterns to work out as I left the Vipassana, and just kind of like, okay, I just knew I would be seeing through things. It felt like, okay, it's the beginning of the end. That was 2014. And a lot has transpired since then. Like, for instance, my relationships became very harmonious. My relationships completely transformed. And as I go along, the more I go along, the more I see the way. Kind of like, I have one website called The Way to the Way. And it was kind of like the spirit was always like, okay, look in this direction. It's like kind of like how the spirit would call to me, look in this direction, and things would get really dark. And it would, and the direction was like, the way I could explain it now is kind of like there's this thread of bliss throughout the experience. It's a choice to be there or not. And you can kind of feel it like a sense kind of calling you. So it's kind of like, look in this direction. And the direction was always about releasing tension. It always had to do with releasing tension. And that's the thing I was the most resistant to. And really, it's a thing we're all the most resistant to. I'm totally the most resistant to that right now too. Like, it's just releasing tension. It's just like, but you get better at when you see that, okay, all it is releasing tension. You're always getting better at that through the practice of it. So it's kind of like a knack where you just like, okay, all that's asked of me here is releasing tension. Really, all of the answers are coming through that openness. The thing is, we're not often willing to release tension, because what's causing the tension is a thought that justifies the tension. And we're using that thought to make it as if our self-image is really real and the world is really there. So that's why there's the resistance to that. There's a resistance to relaxation when it seems like by the circumstance that that's not really allowed, or it's going to lead to chaos, or it's going to lead to debauchery if you just relax. You can't do that. That's like the last thing you can do when the ego's flared up, right? Yeah. So that just really simplifies everything for me, just knowing that that's available.
And you know what it is? It's like a mental interpretation. So when you're seeing something and you're interpreting it, and let's say that it irritates you and you have something bothersome happens and you're triggered by it, right. Then you know that's the ego that is causing that resistance, because your natural true state is to be relaxed and bliss and be more natural. So as soon as the ego starts to flare up, you just have that recognition. It's like having that awareness of that. And knowing that that's the ego that's speaking to me. Yes. And so how would you recommend to someone or make some suggestions as to what you do with that when it happens?
When the ego is flared up, you mean?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
The main thing is to let myself feel. One of the first things I would hear in my mind when I was being guided toward this is, okay, zip it and feel, not in a mean way, but just kind of like that's like my cue, like to close my mouth and feel, because the reaction for me would be to say something that I would immediately feel like I regretted, so that was kind of the guidance. And at this point, I know there's no choice in it. There was not a choice in it as far as what I was going to do, whether I was going to close my mouth and be quiet and just feel that. It's the looking in the direction that made it seem like I made that choice. It's the looking in the direction in the first place, because we don't do this. We don't actually do this. See, it's like the only choice we can make is between two alternatives, and all these things about whether or not I'm going to be quiet or speak or anything like that. I am not making a choice in any of that. So that kind of guidance was just it's kind of like the thoughts are given you too as part of what's part of the illusion. But we're not making any choices there. And you know how I could tell it's good guidance? By the feeling. Like I could just feel that it's leading to something good, even though in the moment, closing my mouth and being quiet seems like an affront to the ego. Right? So it's like there's so much of a desire for truth that just became the manifestation eventually. You could say I screwed up a whole bunch of times before it actually worked, but then again, I wasn't doing anything.
So what you're saying also is that you are witnessing it more, right?
Yes.
You're witnessing the thoughts, and you're choosing in a way where we have a choice to witness it and know that's not who we are. The essence of who we are is not the thought, but we are so conditioned to think every thought that comes across our perception is something to think about, or at least make some importance to it. And we forget they're just thoughts. They have no power over anything, especially who we actually are. The essence of who we are is truth. That doesn't bother us at all. They're just like clouds. But if we are in the person, right? If we're the identity,
right,
as this ego, we're going to attach to it and give importance to it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And all there is that identity that brings on the upset feeling in the first place. So, even just asking, I hope I'm wrong about this. That's asking a question, and what people think, and what someone reflected back to me today, is that what I'm saying is that you'll get a reinterpretation about your life. The thing is, you don't have a life. You're going to get a reinterpretation, not like this. You are life, your eternal life. But the reinterpretation that you'll get has nothing to do with this world. It's not about like making a better future for yourself or making things better. The reinterpretation you get is a release from this world. It's not like I'm going to get something better later. That thought system that you're opening up to right there, that I call it, because a lot of my studies is through A Course in Miracles, I call it the thought system of the Holy Spirit, or you could say the good thought system. It's like the thought system that's been given you that's not of this world, but it works in dreams. It works in dreams to resolve the reason for dreaming. So that thought system has nothing to do with getting what you want in the dream. And that's like what mostly people are focused on, and people even take the teachings and what I share in a way that serves the way they're used to looking at things, thinking like, okay, this is how I can make it better for myself. The way it's better for yourself is you actually don't mind how it goes. That's how it's better for yourself. Like whatever it is, it's because it's giving you an opportunity to be released from dreaming altogether. And that's why it's valuable. That's the only value it has.
Nice. Thank you. Could you give us a definition of enlightenment, or do you like to use that word or no?
Oh, well, I don't really mind it at all. I will say this. There's no one who's more enlightened than you.
Right. We all are that. That's right.
Because see, here's the thing. When you get a perception of people who are more enlightened than you and less enlightened than you in your perception, it's in a dream. That's in a dream. So you're the most enlightened one in the dream. Everyone else is kind of like your child, everyone else that you perceive. Everyone else is really you and the same as you and totally beyond this world. Okay. But the people that you seem to see, like when you talk about enlightenment, people are talking about an enlightened person. Like, we're all really fickle, really. I mean, this is consciousness playing out, you know. I mean, I have no idea. I could decide, probably not, but I could decide tomorrow that I'm just going to follow this thought that someone did something to me and I want to murder them or something. You know, and the next thing you know, it's a totally different perception. And you know, one thing I know for sure is I'm going to bring back a lot of gifts from that trip. but it's like, it's not like something's put on the person. Okay, this is an enlightened person. It's like the whole thing is chaotic, and everything that we get a perception of is only put forth because it's what we wished to perceive. It's what we wished to see. That's the only reason it's put forth. So enlightenment, basically, it's like it was dark and now the light's on. Right? Oh, I was blind about that, and now I see. And let me tell you something too. Here's the thing: as long as you're getting a perception of a body, those fluctuations are coming. The fluctuations are coming. Okay, as long as we're getting that perception, it's like, be glad about it, because the thing is, we're going to be laughing about it. I know I love to laugh about it. I get hooked. I'm glad. I get hooked, and then I get a perception that someone is antagonizing me, and then I'm double glad. Right? Because it's like, oh, and it's like the light, oh, there's enlightenment. Mm-hmm. Holy shit. It's like, it's right there.
You know, I went to sleep. Now I'm awake again. Thank God.
Exactly. Thank you. I think that's what that song means. There's this one song that says, choke me in the shallow waters before I get too deep. And then she just starts going off. If you guys haven't listened to that song, it's pretty good. It's like, someone please pop up and show me that I'm drowning over here. And they do. And that's why everyone is such a blessing. It's so wonderful.
Thank you. And I love what you just said, the thread of, what did you say? The thread of bliss? Yeah. They're following the thread of bliss. I've never heard that, but I can feel that.
Yes, you can feel it.
So cool. Thank you.
And it's subtle. It's subtle, like essential oil. That's why I'm drawn to them. I like that subtle thing. You know, it's like there's a subtle call. Everything else that's telling me that it's useless, self-doubt, that kind of stuff, that stuff's loud, right? When the subtle, the subtle is right there, and it feels so good, and you can just allow that for yourself.
So I love one of the quotes that you put out there on Facebook. You said that when people seem to be antagonistic, they are not. In every case, you project your own antagonistic feeling and make it about them because you wished to be deceived. Mm-hmm. Once awareness is aware of self-deception, the false self-belief that's responsible for projecting the deception is immediately resolved in light of what's true.
Yes. I experienced that this morning. It was freaking awesome. And you know, it's like when I write, it's like I get the experience, and I'm so glad too. It's like I don't feel bad about stuff. You know, it's like I'm so glad. I'm glad that I could be receptive to all the teachings. You know, when someone reflects to me, you know, I could tell by their reaction to me, oh, you're ruffled. So I just relaxed. Oh, thank you. I just relaxed.
So that's the answer, is to realize if you're feeling tension, is to just go into that relaxed state, that relaxed feeling, that it doesn't trigger you and it's not going to bother, and maybe just redirect your interpretation.
The thing is too, though, when you're propping up an upset feeling, when you're propping it up, it's not a good idea to try to cover it up. Like a lot of the times what people want to do is pretend like what they think they see isn't a reality that they're making true. So whatever we think we see is a reality that we're making true, and that's just needs to be allowed to be okay. It's not like denying that we think we see what we think we see, you know? So it's like, it's like this. The upset feeling, the cause of the upset feeling is not because of what you think you see. That is not the cause of it. So you can look directly at it and not be disturbed. When you know that the cause of your upset feeling is actually coming from before you made the world, before you made the world real, that upset feeling is coming from the thought that you actually separated yourself from reality. So that's that thought echoing. And it seems to be coming from a perception, but it's not really coming from the perception. And that's the key for me to being able to relax, because I'm not really upset for the reason I think. I'm projecting a pattern forward. That's all.
Right. It's like a knee-jerk reaction. It's a habitual train, right?
Yes,
Train
that's right.
It's like you're constantly in that same, actually, it's a feeling. When I notice a certain thought come up, which I go, oh, there's that same thought, whatever, you know, right? So you witness the thought and you go, why do I always have that? Those thoughts are constantly coming up, but I can choose to let them go because it's not who I am.
Okay.
Right? That's
Okay.
right. And that, you know, is the dream.
Uh-huh.
And it's just a thought, and you go back to your source. You go back to
Okay.
self, right?
Okay. Uh-huh.
And that to me is, I guess, that's the simplest redirection, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really awesome. And through that, you're gonna learn that the thought really has no value.
Mhm.
Basically, you're gonna learn that the thought has no value. So, you know, it starts out, and you know, we fumble along like wild. It's so fun. But it starts out like we're trying to resist. Like, say the thing is, I don't know, you seem to not have enough money to pay the mortgage, and you're like, oh, okay, I just won't think about that, and I'll just come back to my heart. And then people are going, years later, they're going, when is this going to stop? I keep on doing the same thing. I keep on going back to my heart, but I keep on getting the same perception. And it's like, when that thought can occur to you and you are laughing, you see, because the thought itself is completely meaningless, and that's what's meant to be seen through this. It's not to get an escape. And I'm sensing a sort of escapism just in general, like as far as, okay, I know I can escape into this piece. There's escaping into meditation, that kind of stuff. So the thing is, we need to get the full effect of the feeling that we put into motion. So it's like, for me, a thought might occur, and let's say, oh gosh, I don't know how I'm going to pay the mortgage. It's like, give me that now. I want that feeling now. I don't want to come back into my heart and reject the feeling. I want to come back into my heart with the feeling. Do you see the difference? So I want to let it grow and get hot and get scary and all that stuff, because I know there's no fear in a feeling. I'm not afraid of a feeling, but you know, to the ego, it's like, this feeling is so scary. You better like get back into your heart. You better get back and meditate, because this feeling, you don't want it. Okay, so this thought, whatever it is, that's a delusional thought, is associated with a feeling that the ego thinks that you can't handle, and the ego is trying to protect you from getting that feeling, when it's through that feeling that you will learn what your tendencies are and how to see through them. That's what I see through just like by going through the experience, through the vicissitudes of the life. It's like, okay, so I want this. I projected this sense of lack. Basically, that's always what it is. I projected this sense of lack. Let me get the experience of it right now. Mm-hmm. This is freaking awesome.
Yeah, that's great. I love that. And then you can release it. That's the release, right? That's when you say, I can release that deep feeling of, and most of the ego is all about loss, right? And about rejection.
Yeah.
Good enough. And so when you have these negative diminishing thoughts of, wow, when you first wake up in the morning, I know I'm flooded. Most of my thoughts come first thing in the morning when I first wake up out of a dream. And I'm not, which dream is real, right? I'm dreaming and then I wake up and I go, wait a second.
And you're dreaming again.
Again, and I'm brushing my teeth and I'm being flooded with thoughts and I'm going, wow, these are morning thoughts. It has no value at all because they're just random.
Yeah.
You're brushing your teeth, these thoughts are coming, and then you get, and then it's like this knowing that that somehow it has the whatever called the scattered mind, the monkey mind.
Yeah.
Needs to be, released. But that's the awareness that you are not that.
Yes. And so it's more like you get released from it than you release it, because your whole thing is just to embrace it. You want to get that feeling. It's passing. It's not lasting. It's very temporary. So it's like you want to get that feeling. Look at this is the feeling, the kind of feeling that's plaguing everyone. And it's like when you're willing to embody that for everyone, you also are the first recipient of the gifts. You're immediately uplifted and blissed out with it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also about dissolving the feelings, because I know you said embrace the feeling into your heart center. And then as you just work with the feeling and not what happened outside of you, because outside of you has nothing to do with you releasing it. It has to do with you on the inside, just being compassionate with yourself, being more relaxed in that moment, and just holding that feeling and just letting that dissolve away. So it's dissolving those states of mind, one state at a time, which are your feelings. And then that also helps to raise up your vibration, because you're no longer in that stuckness that somehow you believe to be true, because it was just a belief in your thought system that said, oh, this is real. But when you have that awareness that it's not real, because it's all the dream, then that's when you can do the integration process of reuniting yourself into one, like everyone's whole and one, instead of seeing all the separateness that's going on outside of you. So I do have another question.
Okay.
So what are you advising people in this fear-based reality about what's happening in the world? And how is this an opportunity to get into higher mind?
Okay. I generally don't have advice for people, because I only just share whatever it is that comes through in the moment, and it happens to be different anytime I say it. So so I don't have, and different people are getting different perceptions too about what seems to be going on in the world. Like, once again, there is no world. And then at the same time, there's a perception of a world, and the only way to see through illusions is to first not be afraid of them, to look on them. So it's just like a matter of, okay, what does it look like to you? Okay. Okay, good. Notice the feeling reaction that arises when you think you see that in the world, and accept release for it right now. There's nothing else. It's like you can generalize anything. It could be another person, or it could be the government, or it could be, and on this thing with the COVID thing, it's hilarious because there's two sides. That's just so funny. It's like so obvious that there's like two sides too. And so it's like whatever side anyone seems to be on, it's like whatever side you seem to be on, extend compassion all the time. Keep on extending compassion to what seems to be the other side, because that other side is actually what's giving you purpose on your side.
I love that.
Isn't that so fun? Like, without them.
Yeah. You couldn't be self-righteous. Defend yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And it's so and it's so fun because a lot of us, like myself included, like my conditioning and my the things that I learned of the world have an awful lot to do with health and the immune system and the medical field, and happen to have done a lot of research around that kind of stuff. So it's like I see this COVID thing coming and I'm like, scam, totally. And then there's plenty of friends that I have that are just like, oh no, this thing is totally real. And it's like, okay, they're not wrong.
Yeah.
The world isn't real. So it's not like my conditioning and the things I learned are right, and their conditionings and the things they learned are wrong. They're both necessary. It's all necessary for this unfolding. And this is an unfolding of consciousness. That's a real purpose of it. And this is for healing the mind. So those of us who are aware of, okay, this is what it's for, regardless on how our conditioning is and what side of the whole debate we seem to be finding ourselves on. Okay, this is for awakening, basically. You just come to that. This is for awakening. And the thing is, there's definitely two levels here that we're dealing with. We have a manifest level, and we have a spiritual level. On the manifest level, anything that we get a perception, that's how it includes anything we get a perception of, any thought, any activity, anything like that. Whatever you're getting a perception of, whether it happens to be about you or another person, the main thing is this willingness to save everyone from your own judgment, including yourself. Just save everyone from that. So it's like you get a reaction, and that's natural. We get a reaction to things. It's like, don't try to avoid it. Oh my goodness. I got that reaction because I wished for separation. I am curious about that reaction automatically. I'm not trying to cover it up with a spiritual concept. That's the thing. This has to be integrated, kind of like, into the way I perceive it, integrating in myself is through the nervous system. It's kind of like almost like an earthquake in the nervous system. It's almost like there's an earthquake in there. I'm not sure what that's pointing to or what that is, but it definitely seems like that there's a sensitivity in the body's energy field, in the nervous system, where there's automatically noticing when there's an upset feeling. And it's like, there's not a trying to do anything. There's not an trying to get away from it. There's just a noticing that there's an upset feeling. And also that whatever I'm using to prop it up must be false, right? So then I'm not believing in my own thoughts. I'm waiting for guidance. And that's where the seeing comes in.
So take us through this. Let's use the example of, and I think we also know that if you're in fear, you're not in love, but you're in love, you're in fear.
Sure.
But if, let's say that you're fearful, of contracting this, whatever this is.
Okay.
Illusion.
Yes.
And so the people are reading the news, they're getting their information from this source that everybody tends to want to believe in.
Mm-hmm.
And this massive consciousness, and they come together in this illusion. And then, you're a real, you're a spiritual being having a human experience, but all of a sudden that massive energy of collective fear starts, you're starting to feel that, right?
Okay.
Right. And then you're saying to yourself, even though you're separating yourself right in the moment, what if I get it and I get sick, right? Okay.
That's great. I love that.
Right. So then you go, okay, so this is the example, and we're sort of working this through, right? So the practice, if you want to call it a practice, is I feel the sense of oh, okay, now my throat's hurting me. Right. Then there's the symptoms. I had this 2 times. This was hysterical. I'm watching my body responding. It's like, Oh, you're getting
You got the perception that you got the COVID 2 times, you're saying?
yeah.
Oh, what fun.
Yeah, it's like, oh, here come the symptoms. Because I
Oh.
know, I think it's hysterical because I know the power of my mind. It's
Sure.
powerful. And as
Yeah.
soon as the thought comes in, I'm showing the symptoms. Because
Yeah.
this has always been the case. I've seen this throughout my lifetime because I had my Lynda had a grandmother that was a hypochondriac. She
Oh,
created
nice.
her life made of illness. And my
Right.
mother was the same way. She would have panic attacks. She would have, and I noticed how their minds worked, right? And created this illusion of this illness in their body or potential illness. And it would finally manifest. And I go, whoa, that's so yeah. So talk us through that now. So let's say that somebody has that, ooh, and all of a sudden it's about the stories, isn't it? It's about feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it doesn't necessarily have to be about sickness itself, the story, right? It's all a sort of sickness whenever it's a mental illness, whenever you're following a diseased thought. So one of my friends just started following all these diseased thoughts, and she knew it. She was like, wow, I'm just like really digging myself a hole. She was feeling so upset. And then all of a sudden symptoms, and then full on, like 3 weeks. She's like, Hope, I'm sick. I'm like, you are not sick. You're pretending to be sick. And see, here's the thing. No one is capable of getting sick. That is a lie that we have been taught to believe in. No one is actually capable of being sick. So when my friend told me, Hope, I'm sick, I go, you know what? I'm going to come over there and I'm going to jump in bed with you. You're not sick. And so, she's acting sick. And by the way, not doing a great job acting sick either. Like, she's not even convincing me. she's acting sick. I'm over there cuddling her up. And she goes, Hope, I gotta say, I'm really scared you're gonna get sick, because my mom said if you come over, you're gonna get sick. No one else will come near me. Everyone's telling me that Hope's gonna get sick. And I said, here's the thing. Hope is not capable of getting sick. That's not a possibility. Now, if there's a perception of sickness, then I'm going to use that, just like any perception of sickness, because all sickness is the same to me. Mm-hmm. I don't mind if I get the perception. And somehow I never got that perception. In fact, the whole thing since this COVID thing started, I haven't had a perception of any kind of anything come up. Meanwhile, I don't wear a mask. I kiss just about everyone on the lips. Anyone who wants to can kiss me on the lips. Okay. Now my vaccinated friends are going, oh, now I can kiss Hope on the lips again because I feel safe. Fine with me. I'm glad. And I'm glad that I'm open to that, because it's like, there's also, I don't know if you guys know about this, but it goes around my world over here in Pune. Oh gosh, don't touch the vaccinated people. They could be shedding spike proteins, and God forbid you're kissing them on the lips.
Well, Hope, I've heard that from my daughter. She's a friend for me because I'm dating somebody that was vaccinated. I think it's this hysterical combination of all the illusions out there that and I don't, of course, I don't agree with any of it because I know it's all false, but I think the play is hysterical, right? It's just, and it gets more bizarre and more bizarre. Now in Illinois, the restaurants are shutting down. You can't walk in if you don't have your card with you. So
that's so cute.
yeah. So so when my boyfriend says, I'm sorry, you can't go out to a restaurant, I go, who cares?
Yeah.
I don't care. I like eating home. I like what. So what are they trying? What do they think they are doing in the illusion to about this whole thing? I don't know.
What does who think they're doing? What do you mean?
Well, in the illusion, they think that the people who are not vaccinated are going to go vax so they can go to a restaurant. I don't understand.
Oh yeah, that might be the case. Now the ego always has an agenda to separate, right? The ego always has that kind of agenda. And also the ego has an agenda to make threats seem real. Virus is great. Virus is a good one. Before I even got into any kind of, spirituality that talked about how none of this stuff is real or anything. I learned through bookworming it in science and stuff like that, that viruses don't have any, like even in the material sense. And, you know, it's known in the material sense too, but there's a different message being portrayed to the public. There's a different message being portrayed. But see, that's what we want, because we freaking pretend like it's real all the time. You know, we want that message portrayed because we like to pretend like threats are real. So now we got this little tiny threat that's going to get you, like it can even get through your mask and stuff. But it's not really the thing about a virus. It isn't like from a biological standpoint, it's not a threat. And it's not a threat in the other way too. So it's like taking it as if it's a threat is a fearful thing. Taking anything as a threat, and certainly something that's so small like that, and you can't even do anything about it. It's just gonna get you unless you totally like do all this different stuff to try to prevent it. And you know, I keep on hearing from people who are going, yeah, you know, I'm just gonna keep wearing my mask now. They had it down because they got vaccinated. Then they're gonna put it back on now because guess what? They got COVID. So now they want to put it back on. So that's fun. You know, it's like there's this there's always this agenda to make things seem like they're fearful. And here's the thing. It's not fearful either that there is this agenda. And that's the reason people are afraid to look at it. Okay. In the illusion, in the dream, there is an agenda to make a profit for one. One of my friends who was about ready to get exploratory surgery, I said, hey, why don't you look into this? See this surgery, check this out. So he goes and he does his own research, and he goes, Hope, you know what? I found out that from the American Medical Association or some journal or something like that, that 40% of the time that they do these procedures, they're unnecessary. And that's in their own documents. And the reason that they listed for performing these procedures is to protect profit margins, like right in the document. It's like hidden in plain sight. So my friend saw that and he said, you know what, Hope, once I realized, I was like, wow, it's just, that's like plain language. They're saying what they're doing. They're actually saying what they're doing if you look at it. Okay. But the thing is, that spiritual bypassing thing is like, don't look at that. Don't look at that. Just keep on meditating. Okay. And the thing is, that works for a while and it's great. And then something else is coming. Another lesson is coming. There's nothing wrong with this thing called spiritual bypassing. It's freaking awesome. You'll do that for a while. You'll do that for a while. And then at some point, you'll be able to just look right on the illusion, have no fear about it, have absolutely no fear about it. It's kind of like, you know, you got this cancerous spot growing on you and you just like cover it up with a Band-Aid because you don't want to think about it, or you just let yourself get the perception of it. And then you get the perception of it being cared for. See, things don't need to change. Things need to be cared for, like that. Okay. So, with the fear of a virus, when someone's having fear of a virus, I don't recommend that you tempt the ego and try to, like, if you think that that if you take your mask off, a virus is going to get you, leave that fucker on. Not like you have a choice in it. Not like you have any choice in it. But of course, you know, it's not like you need to tempt the ego. You probably, you know, get yourself the illusion that you're sick and really get scared, get even more scared. You know, it's like, do the social distancing, do the vaccine, whatever it is that makes it seem like less fearful for you. And you will have opportunities to see what kind of illusion is being presented to you that you've been feeding into, because all the population is being presented with an illusory society Okay. And it's something that everyone's going to see through, but first there has to be willingness to look on this. This is a scary thing to the ego. You know, the ego wants to believe that our government is really all for us. Okay. It's like it is in a particular way because it's for awakening your mind. And also there is an agenda. Okay. There is an agenda. There is you could say people propped up in the illusion by the ego. They're propped up in the illusion to play out an agenda. And that's what we're witnessing. That's all. And, you know, it's not for everyone to see that right now. That's the other thing too, because it's like it comes down to willingness, and there's so much fear that has to be worked through first. So yeah, just going into your heart and getting that relief. It's perfect. It's simple, and more lessons are coming through that.
You know, it's really interesting, Hope. Thank you for that. You know, that if we understand that what we are experiencing is what we want to experience also,
Yeah.
that's one of the principles, that it's really what you want. So there's something underlying, an underlying agenda, whether it's consciously or subconsciously, and that's why things are occurring. And even though you think that, oh, I got past that, then you realize, oh, something else came up. So now you address that and what that feeling is for you, and then addressing it as the feeling. So that's when you can start to experience and understand that, oh, if that's what I wanted to happen, how should I take a look at that? Is there something I needed to learn from this? Do I need to self-inquire, maybe go a little bit deeper, or just go ahead?
No, I wouldn't talk that much about it.
Right.
I know that sounds funny coming to me. I talk like from me. I talk like a mofo, right? But like I wouldn't talk that much about that, right? Because it's not like, oh, what do I need to look at within myself because I made that? It's only the reaction. It's like really way closer than that. So it's only in the reaction. So you get a perception, you get a reaction, right? The reaction is really projected based on something else. That's where it's at. It's not like I need to do something. It's not like I wanted the government to have this kind of agenda, so therefore this. No, I'm totally just looking at my reaction to what I'm perceiving. So it's like right here, very close. It's like, what is the reaction to that perception? The perception is great. It's perfect. I'm happy about it. I'm happy about it. I'm happy about the agenda. It's freaking awesome. It's given for a reason. And the reason is for awakening the mind. I'm just not going to deny it. I'm not going to use the spiritual bypassing denial thing, which what I'm telling you is that's not a bad thing. You need that at one point in time. You need that. It's not bad. You know, it's just kind of like that. There's also a progression here, and anyone looking in this direction, you know, can know, okay, there's a progression to that, but it's like, just relax. It's not like you need to do anything about it. Just relax more.
And at this point, I'd like to open it up for people on our call. If there are any questions?
Yes, please. Anyone have a question? You can just raise your hand or.
Aloha, Casey and Bill. Yay. Aloha, Lori. Aww.
No, I love the banter. So I think it's just, this has been an interesting listening for me because I feel like a friendship here. So
Great.
thank you.
What fun.
That's Samantha.
That's Samantha. So yeah, I don't
What resonated with you, Samantha? What did you feel?
So a couple things that resonated with me. I resonated, you know, Hope, I feel like you're very deep and authentic, and that you have a intuition and a clear perspective on reality, regardless of the noise that goes around you. So I think you have a very refreshing, honest voice. So I like that. And then I'm, probably the number one fan of Lynda. So I think Lynda has just a beauty and elegance and a oneness about her that I've recently, it's rejuvenated a oneness that I learned about 10 years ago. And so it brings back a soul that I've lost. And I just love everything she says, because it's I lost a teacher that was about divine one. And, when I lost it, I lost that teaching. And it's such an important teaching right now in this world, being one. So those are the two things. And then, it's just been really, and then the other thing is just the human side of what we're all dealing with. You guys were educational, you were heartfelt, and then you also just were honest. So I don't know, I just really enjoyed listening. I've been in a quiet, I have to be honest, I was in like a hot bath and relaxing, and it just was really a peaceful thing to be a part of this friendship tonight. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
You.
Thanks for being in a bath.
No, I didn't want to say that, but then I thought I felt like it should. I was just enjoying listening to you guys in a hot bath, closing my eyes. And it was really fun, actually. I was really grateful for the Zoomness of it, because then I was able to do that. So, and I wasn't sitting there and you were looking at me listening. I was able to be where I wanted to be, but yet here with my heart and relaxing and taking it in.
Beautiful.
Beyond the image into this formless. That's what it feels like, right?
Yeah, it was, yes. And so,
yeah,
I mean, one way I was thinking, is this multitasking? But then the other way I was thinking, it's authentically where I want to be during this conversation. And I think that these women would, if they knew how I was doing it, they would be, happy, because I was happy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Perfect.
I think I can speak for all of us when I say we're all happy about that.
Yeah, no, I mean, because that's the time of the day that it is for Lynda and I. It's the end of the evening and end of the day. And so I was trying to do it with a warmth and love and heart. And so
thank you for sharing that.
Sorry, don't put that on Facebook Live.
Oh, well, it is. So
it is. You know what? Who cares?
You can deny it anytime.
I have a question.
Yeah, exactly. There's no secrets in me, so who cares?
I have a question.
Oh, I'm sorry. We had somebody raising a hand already. I'm going in order of sorry. You're second. Cheryl, you had a question. Your hands was up.
Hello. Yes, this is Cheryl chiming in from New Mexico, Linda Hope's daughter.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Yay,
I came in like
Cheryl.
20 minutes, 30 minutes late, but I definitely got a good chunk. And I saw you, Hope, actually with my mom in Hawaii when we were there with Sharon. Hi, Sharon.
Hi, Cheryl. So good to hear from you.
You too. I was so I just had to come on because the familiarity of your wisdom, Hope. I really needed it today. I really laughed out loud at the part where you said, we need like the separation that we create is created. Our amusement is created from the other side, or something like that. Like we need like that other. I don't know how you said it. I'm sure you don't remember, but
I don't even know what I said.
Yeah.
Do you know him?
Yeah, do you guys remember? But
the two sides, the two sides of the whole COVID thing. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes,
Okay.
and that how to really this time for me has really I've just watched my mind, right? And I'm trying to and just be in a place of neutrality this whole time in a way that I feel like I don't know, I feel like it's very amazing to me to feel, and I feel like I can appreciate and really stand in my power and look at both sides and having an open mind, but also realizing, it's all just a show, and and like, why would I create separation? That's really seeing that and seeing how so many of my friends have created the separation, I really noticed that right away. I was like, wow, this is the virus.
Yes.
The separation is the virus. And yeah, like unity, like where's the unity? And I just felt like just watching both sides just like pick on each other, and just realizing that like that's our mass psychosis, you know, is friends or foe, right? Like
Mhm. Yep, exactly.
I'm gonna fear you and put you in, unfriend you because you disagree with me. And
Mhm.
that's not at all tolerance,
Yes.
right?
Right.
Which is Switzerland, right? And neutrality. So yeah, just I love that you mentioned that in your own way. And um yeah, just appreciative of Lynda and Sharon's continual weekly um Zoom, and just want to be here more. So sorry I haven't been here in a while. I love you, Mom.
You guys are so cute. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, really, we appreciated your words and everything. I'm sorry, who wanted to come in and ask a question, Casey? Yes.
Okay, so I'm going along in my life, and then something feels like upsetting.
Yeah.
And so just feel that and don't like make it real. Realize that there is no world. And that's it.
It is really, really simple like that. And you know, it can be applied to every single little thing too. Like little tiny things that seem to be upsetting, like seeing a cockroach in your soup, for instance.
In your soup.
Yeah, I don't know.
Where it's upsetting.
Just a cockroach.
Only one in Hawaii. That's pretty good.
And
So,
know you're one with a cockroach.
yeah, so you get any perception that something is upsetting, you just allow that to be felt, because all that's going on is there's grabbing onto some kind of a resistance to it. Even trying to get out of it is resistance to it. I mean, you're going to see while having that up in your energy field. It's like what we're afraid of with this upset feeling is really our joy. It's like nectar underneath the upset feeling. It's like we need that upset feeling to reveal where the light needs to be shined, basically enlightenment, because something's dark, right? It's like you've got an upset pattern about yourself that's projecting as whatever it seems to be that you're getting a reaction to, even if it's just a little bit of irritation. It doesn't matter if it's anything like that, and you don't have to go looking for the answer. All it takes is this willingness to know that you're mistaken, and that's why you feel upset. You're mistaken. So it's like you could still look at the apparent cockroach, maybe swat it. I don't know. Maybe when you're one of those ones that puts it outside, it doesn't matter. But you see how you seem to be taking care of the cockroach still, right?
Instead of taking care of yourself.
What's that?
Instead of taking yourself and the upset,
right,
that you have made up. It's like we've made up an illusion of upset. Oops. And something changed here. You made up an illusion of upset, and the way what I'm hearing from you, Hope, is healing that is just going, there is no world, there is no cockroach to be, there is no separation, there is none of this baloney that we've been lost in forever.
Yes, I made that up because then that opens the way for the teaching. So you can see how you made it up. That's what opens it up.
So I would say to myself, I'm making this upset up.
Well, yeah, you would if you had clarity of mind in that moment where there's a trigger. Do you see how do you see how after the fact you'll notice a bunch of times I didn't even think of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, try to think of that. That's why I'm asking, asking people to feel, because that gives you the sensitivity. When you're feeling, you know the contrast between feeling good and feeling crappy, right? You
Yeah.
know the contrast. So when you're aware of your feelings and you notice that there is a crappy feeling that's up, it's like a red flag for me that my mind needs a correction. So I can't be projecting about that thing. I can't be projecting about it, making myself vulnerable to it. Now, what I was pointing out with the cockroach, when well, no matter what, you're probably going to do something about that cockroach, or not if you're the kind of person who just wants to see them add up. But you're probably going to find yourself doing something about the cockroach. It's going to take care of itself no matter what. There's just absolutely nothing that you're capable of doing in that. So it's not like you should try to be controlling your doing in any way. Just watch the doing. Even when you think you're controlling the doing, you're not. That's the thing. Even when you think you're controlling it. See, I have friends who go something like this. I want to be really peaceful and I want to have really good relationships with people. But I'm having this upset feelings because I have this community it's this sort of community. And I have a person living in the community that doesn't want anything to do with the sort of community I made. Oh, so my question is, well, why don't you just tell them that they got to go? Right? My question is, why don't you just tell them they got to go? And the answer is, because I want to be in good relationship with everyone. That right there is confusing the levels. That right there is confusing the levels. The reason you feel like you need a person in your community that's not going along with the community or whatever is because you're afraid of the perception. You're afraid of whatever the manifestation is through yourself. You can't be with everyone. Okay. There's gonna be some apparent perception where it's like, oh, that doesn't work out. Thank you. No, thank you. It's not like you're mad at them. It's not like you have to have a judgment about them or anything like that. It's like it's like people are kind of like shackling themselves to this irritating kind of suffering that's not getting seen through because there's all this judgment about what we're doing, and we're not doing anything. We're not actually doing anything. So it's like you can be completely free in your dream to say no thank you, or to, for instance, kill the cockroach, or for instance, put some cockroach bait in your kitchen, or put the cockroach outside, or decide that a bunch of cockroaches living in your house is awesome and you just leave them there. See, none of that kind of stuff is like neither here nor there. So then we have nothing to think about because we're not thinking about our actions and trying to evaluate which one's the best one, right? And now we don't have all these thoughts to contend with. Now we can actually be quiet and get a feeling.
We're not trying to solve anything.
Yes.
That's what I think we like to do is our ego mind either wants to solve it or wrestle it to the ground and kill it, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's that kind of thing. I'm going to find the answer to this if it kills me. Until I will find the answer to the cockroach problem.
Right.
And I did notice that with my ants, in where I live, there are ants in the neighborhood, and every season here they come. And as soon as I see them, it is obvious they're going to multiply like crazy. But if I don't see them, they're not an issue. Or even if they are an issue and they're all over my sink and my countertop, and I just say, hey, how are you guys? That's another option, right? And that's what I find interesting, because the more attention I pay to it, the more dramatic it gets.
Yes.
And that's the fun part of knowing this. It's a kind of a knowing how things work, right?
Mhm.
We know how things work, and yet we deny it because somehow the illusion starts to carry us into that. But we know it in our soul
Yeah.
right here exactly how it's going to play out before it even plays out.
So Hope, it seems like it's an opportunity to have an upset and to let go. Just let go.
Yeah. And see, and see the let go one too. It's just because it seems like there's someone to let go like that. And so yeah, so that gets a little bit confusing, just because, that's the way it's taken a lot. It's not like it's wrong to say let go. But it's just like it's taken as if there's someone to do that letting go, when all that's being asked really is, like, one way to say it is presence, awareness. Like, you're going to laugh at it at a point in time. You're going to laugh at it, everything that arises for you. But you don't have to do anything. This is all a seeing. Remember, all the action is in the observation. That's why I'm saying, don't evaluate your own actions. If you need to kill cockroaches in your illusion, then that's going to be the perception. There's nothing you can do about it, except you're choosing between projecting condemnation on yourself or getting released. That's all.
So you're
Go
saying
for release.
also about being authentic. It's like there's something about having that intuition to say, I already know that this is acceptable, even though there's something else underlying it that you think that it means something, but it's actually the meaning that we give it. We give it a value. We say, this is good, this is bad, or we want to undermine ourselves for judging it.
Yes.
And which is the underlying idea of separation.
Uh-huh.
So when we're not trying to compare and judge and fix and be dramatic, then we can actually be our true nature. But it's the idea that, okay, I'm having this, like Casey mentioned, something triggered me, all these subtle triggers, something came up all of a sudden and you just see it coming up, then that's when you can actually realize that and just say, oh, I'm having this feeling, so to release that tension so that you can experience more of truth of who you are.
So you're willing to experience that feeling. So that feeling is the very first effect of thinking against yourself. It's an upset feeling. So you're willing to get that feeling. That's the main thing. Because being released, what you get released from is not the feeling. The feeling is actually ecstasy underneath that upset, that resistance thing. The feeling itself is actually ecstatic. It's really good. But we don't let ourselves get to that because it's all about letting go, getting release and all that stuff. The release that you get is from feeling the feeling, though, because you get released from the thoughts that prop it up. That's before the feeling. There's secret self-beliefs. So by going through the feeling, the secret self-belief gets revealed. That's how it gets revealed to you. And once it's revealed, it can't stand in the light of awareness. And again, that's enlightenment. The light bulb goes on and you see what you've been propping up to hurt yourself. You're just going to have that awareness in a flash, and then you don't need to hold that thing up to hurt yourself anymore.
And that's the gift. And these gifts come in very strange wrapping paper. So when we're seeing these gifts come in, like as these feelings, these states of mind, then it's that realization, like, oh, it came up for a reason. People look for the purpose of why we're here. What is it that we're trying to accomplish, or do we need to try? But the idea is to have that wherewithal, that understanding that we could be of ourselves, of our natural self, and the ecstasy of that, and it's what we project over that. that comes up as the gift to say, oh, this is what needs to be released now.
Yay.
Or-
Yeah. So it's like, hooray. Yeah. That, yeah.
Right.
So, yeah. So every trigger is a gift. So then every trigger becomes a gift. And when you're looking at your triggers like they're a gift, you're able to go into the feeling, and in that feeling is that nectar. And that it's kind of like when you will allow yourself to be embraced in that. It's kind of like you're giving these beautiful prayers to the divine. That's the kind of picture I get of it. It's kind of like, it's like that Amrita, that beautiful nectar. It's like it becomes your offering to the divine. You're just feeling so good and so juicy through everything, because you learn that your triggers aren't anything to be afraid of. It's actually a blissful experience in disguise. And you know how they put it in one of my yoga classes I used to do a long time ago when I was into Kundalini yoga. They were saying that that fear is basically excitement without the breath. And I felt that because I'm going through these practices I'm going through all these practices. And in some of these practices, we're doing stuff where we're like flapping our arms like this for like a half an hour. And stuff starts to burn like really bad. You feel all this pain and fear comes up. And then you notice through doing the practice that level, that even that layer of physical pain that starts to seem like it's in your shoulders or wherever from doing that. Even that physical pain, it's a thin layer, and underneath that is bliss. And I think that's why, there's a possibility, and I experience it myself, of having a painless childbirth, because that layer of sensation that seems like it's pain is actually excitement, which leads to bliss. And it's almost like it's beneath that. So it's like in childbirth, there's like all this chaos, all these sensations and stuff like that. And you're just allowing yourself to go to the deeper sensations, which is like the uterus opening, it's contracting and stuff like that. And it feels really good, actually. So it's like this, the same with physical pain. It's the same thing with mental pain. There's just a thin layer really of this, don't touch that, get away from that, get a better feeling quickly. Whereas the better feeling is actually from going into it, because it is a better feeling already. You just made it something that it's not.
And you mentioned too that the pain is actually not in the body, that it's the feeling, it's in the mind that has projected that, and so created the idea. Your creative power is now creating that separation of that pain.
Yeah.
So, and I love the story too, like you're walking down through the forest, and up ahead on this branch, you see this snake, and you get closer and closer because you know that that's the only way you have to go. You have to go past that snake. So you're getting all these fearful thoughts, and those are occurring in your mind. And maybe you have some sweat coming down and you're thinking about it. And as you get closer, you're like, oh, it's just part of the branch. And then you're like, oh, and you kind of just like drop it.
Goodness. Yeah.
So it's like that light switch. It's like you just turned on that light switch. It's like you enlightened.
Yes.
And realize the power that it was all in your mind.
Definitely. Anytime we get we get worried or scared of anything, that's a really good analogy, because that snake comes in a lot, that branch disguised as a snake comes in a lot of different forms, right? And
Exactly.
we see that, and I saw that go down in my own perception today. It was just like, oh, yay. It was, it was more like a snake that said, okay, now you have to do all this stuff. And it's like, okay, I'm letting myself get the sensation of that. At the same time, I'm perceiving myself doing the stuff. I go like this because it's all for work on the computer. It's all focusing on a computer, and it's like feeling victimized that I have to do all this stuff, and noticing that, and noticing I have to be wrong about it. I have to be wrong about that. So then keeping an open thing. And then my web design guy, I expressed to him, I was like, yeah, I don't think I'm really the best person to be doing all this stuff. I don't seem to have the aptitude for it. He's like, oh my God, I am sorry if you got that impression that you had to do any of it. I'm going to do all of it for you. And I'm like, no, it's not you. It's just that the main reason why I'm switching platforms right now is so that I could see through this emotional pattern.
Yeah.
You didn't do anything. It's just like, that's the main reason why we're doing this. It seems like I'm getting a new platform, but there's something that needs to be revealed and healed in this. And that's exactly why I would get the perception that I had to do all the stuff.
Great. That's wonderful. I love that. I can see that in me too, the tendency of going, but then I look back and I say, this is all an illusion. I don't have to do anything. Everybody's going to do it for me, and then you go, well, that's also an illusion. But
well, you can't do anything. That's the thing. It's not like trying to mind fuck yourself into thinking that someone else is just going to do all the dirty work for you. It's the fact that you're not actually capable of doing it. You know what I said to my husband? I was like, man, I guess I'm the one for this because I seem to be the only one with the aptitude for this. I seem to be the only one with the aptitude. And you know what? That doesn't feel in alignment with me. So that's fun. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Right? It's just like, oh, that's fun. We'll see how it goes. It's not like, and then any kind of sense of tension or piss or anything like that. I'm happy about it. So I'm not taking it out on my peeps.
Yes.
Right.
It's, all part of the remembrance. It's like when you can laugh and you can have fun in that and bring the light and just have the light coming through. You're just having more of, oh, I remember that. Oh, this came up to help me to awaken, or this came up for me to see something different because I was having a misperception about something. And then that changes and it shifts. And not only does it change yourself, how you perceive it, but then what happens is the people around you seem to shift. And there seems to be that uplifting, that rise that happens in energy or vibration that, even though it's in the mithya, in the illusion, that, you're feeling that, oh, I didn't need to feel that way, or I got past that in such a sense that now look what's happening around me. So
apparently it will pass. Look what's happening on the appearance, and it's passing too.
Right. It's 1 minute until we're supposed to end, but this hour and a half has gone so fast. Would you please come back?
Yeah, I love it. I'd love to.
Yeah, and we'd like you to close with a statement for whoever is in need of your wisdom in the moment. What would you like to leave our audience with?
Oh, well, what's coming up right now that I want to share is that every one of us will save the whole world from judgment in our dream. It's our dream of awakening. And how there's this story of a Christ. That's you. It's amazing. And all this is learning how to be that for yourself, showing up for yourself. And it's like anyone who seems like they will not save you from their judgment is giving you an opportunity to save them from yours. Isn't that so fun?
That's beautiful. That is so profound. Thank you.
Thank you.
So Sharon, do you want us to show our contact page, right? I think
Yes, please go ahead.
Share the contacts, and that way you can get a hold of Hope. And if you want to leave a phone number,
Oh my gosh, you guys are so cute. Oh, we're all so cute.
So Hope, here's your email address, right? Is that true? Yep. And your website and your YouTube. Could you tell us a little bit about your Miracle Botanicals?
Yeah, that's my essential oil line. I started it in 2011. It's a family business right out of our house, and we're really good at sourcing essential oils. It's not MLM. So that's multi-level marketing. The prices are good. You don't have to be on a subscription or anything like that, although we might be offering that soon. Not that you have to sign up. And it's just the most potent plant medicine we can find. And we have a lot of different varieties and stuff like that. We love to share just this beautiful aloha love vibe through the essential oils. We know people can feel it. They get back with us all the time and tell us about, man, I know your essential oils are so potent because of this energy that goes with it. And it's like, yeah, we got that. Plus we have just the best stuff we can find. So check that out, miraclebotanicals.com. My teachings are just everywhere. Like Hope just talks and writes like a mofo, like I said earlier. It's like, okay, there's a Telegram, Awakening with Hope. There's Instagram, Awesome Hope Johnson. There's Hope Johnson Wisdom Dialogues page on Facebook. There's a group, Wisdom Dialogues Online. And that's a fun group. I posted that a lot. I post Telegram a lot. There's my personal Facebook page. Feel free to friend me there. And there's also YouTube. Also, I'm on all podcast stations. Any podcast station you have, Spotify, any of those, you type in Hope Johnson, Wisdom Dialogue. That's the name of, the show I do. It's like, you just type in Hope Johnson, Wisdom Dialogue, you're going to get it. And there's, I think, probably, guessing around 1,000 hours of content. And, all of it is, of course, without charge. The message for me is just like coming out. It's coming out. It's not waiting for people to value it in a way where it's a monetary value. It's just like, there it is. If you want it, you could have it. So thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Samantha says, thank you. This was wonderful.
Oh, thank you, Samantha. Oh, I have a book too, Unschooling for Parents.
Oh, yes.
If you go to my website, hopejohnson.org, there is a book tab, and there's also, thank you.
And here's the book, Unschooling for Parents. There we go, by Hope Johnson. So get your copy.
And it's good if you're not a parent too, because you are a parent to everything that you perceive. And so, my journey was through that with my kids, because I felt like I didn't belong in that. and so that could be applied to anything, because, we're feeling like we don't belong, like in the world, basically, because we're not even able to be in it. So it kind of shows you through that, kind of like from a parenting perspective, and you can take that and apply it to any perception of the world that you have.
Beautiful. Thank you. And Sharon, you have a new book, New York bestseller.
So here's my book, Light Wisdom, and it did make #1 on Amazon at one point. So, but get your copy. It's Light Wisdom by Sharon Berkowitz. And enjoy.
Hooray.
Great. And do we want to end with a blessing? I think that would be beautiful, right?
Let's have a blessing.
And I'd love to end it with what you call the priestly benediction. It's in Hebrew, and it's a beautiful way to say, God, that knowing that God is here, God is protecting, God is all of us in a way through the Hebrew language, which is very vibrational. So may God bless us and keep us. May God shine his light upon us and know that we are that light. And may God bring us into that place of oneness, of wholeness, of peace. And this is the Hebrew chant of that. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. Ya'eh Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yaseim lecha. Shalom. We'll see you all next month on AllOne. And please unmute yourself and say goodbye to Hope and Sharon and I. And thank you for all being here. So unmute yourselves.
God bless you. Warmth and light and love, peace and harmony to the all things on earth and in space in the universe. We are all one in this life and past lives and future lives.
Thank you, Sam.
Yay!
Yay.
And Bill, so good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you, both of you.
Yes, we're in Hawaii. We're all in Hawaii now. And here's
Oh, yay.
we're excited to get together with you guys.
Yay.
The rest of us are coming
Aloha.
over tomorrow. No, I wish we could. Thank you all for being here, and we will see you again next month. Watch for our Facebook Live. We can see it again on Facebook on Sharon Berkowitz or Lynda Drescher Whoops on Facebook. So again, to our guest, we love you, love you, love you, Hope.
Yay, I love you. That's fun.
It's been a pleasure having you here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Blessings to all. All right, stay
Coming
well.
over.
What?
I said, I'm coming over to Sharon and Steven.
Oh, yeah.
Please do.
There you go. I'll be there in spirit.
Yay.
Much love to all.
Much love, everyone.
I don't know.